How's it going, everybody on YouTube? This is Mr. Gaming for Fun coming at you with a deck profile. And what's a good way with Soul Fusion to start off with some legacy support, and we are doing Gravekeepers. Really enjoyed making this deck, really enjoyed playing it just because of the lockdown it's able to make, thanks to a Supernaturalist able to search out any of the Necro Valley spells and traps. So without further ado, let's get into this, and let me get these two out of the way, and we shall start off with the main deck, which we're gonna play 2 Heretics. I plan on bumping up to 3 when I get a 3rd copy, same with Descendant. And reason I like this guy is if Necro Valley's on the field, he's unaffected by any other card effect. Sad thing on my part too, because the cards that I want to play with to boost him or whatever, he's unaffected by those. But he's a good 1800 beater, and then along with the new trap, the opponent's monsters lose attack, so anything like 2300 or 2200 and under just loses that attack, so he can go right over them. After that, we're playing triple Gravekeeper Spy, which I'm enjoying just because usually my first turn ends up being setting this, playing a Necro Valley, and then ending my turn, which means I've got a 2500 defense monster that's really hard to get over unless the opponent plays something really strong. After that, I'm playing triple Gravekeeper's Commandant. I think that's how you pronounce it, Commandant. And that's just 2100 beater on the field, but his main effect is to act as a terraforming by discarding him from the hand to the grave, searching out Necro Valley from the deck. And then after that, I'm playing 3 Recruiter, which I really enjoy because it searches out practically every Gravekeeper's monster, and there are a few exceptions, so not too worried about that. But the ones I need, he's able to get immediately. Then, like I said, I'm playing Descendant. I've got 2 of them. I would bump it up to 3 if I had an extra copy. He's really good because his effect's not hard once per turn, and he can just pop any card on the field. Then I'm doing 1 Visionary, just in case I'm able to make that that big board with, or make a board where I can bring it out to the field, and I have a ton of Gravekeepers in the graveyard. He gains 100 attack per every Gravekeeper. Since he's a high level monster, his effect is really good. You just tribute 1 Gravekeeper to bring him out. You don't need to use multiple tributes. And then if you have any Gravekeepers in hand and he would be destroyed by battle, he is able to protect himself by discarding 1 Gravekeeper. After that, for the new support from the new Soul Fusion booster pack, we are playing 2 Headmen, just because it lets us get more Gravekeepers from the graveyard back to the field. And since its effect is immune to Necro Valley, I can still special summon from the grave with his effect. And then while having this on the field with Descendant, tribute him, tribute the monster that was special summon. Usually it ends up being Gravekeeper's Recruiter, so I can keep adding to the hand, and I pop 2 cards. And then for the last of the monsters, we got new support as well. We've got Gravekeeper Spiritualist, which she functions as a polymerization while on the field. So you can fuse her with any Gravekeeper monster for the new fusion. She's really easy to get out and search, and I really enjoy it, especially when she's on the field. If you don't have anything to fuse, she just becomes a 2000 beat stick. And then that's all the monsters. Now onto the spells. We've got 3 Necro Valley, which if you're playing Gravekeepers, I have tried the Secret Village build, but I like the classic Necro Valley build. Just you lock out the opponent from anything from the graveyard. Yourself, you're locked out as well. And then it had like 7 erratas, and I don't remember exactly what the newest one is, but the summary is the graveyards are untouchable. Then after that, I've got 2 Hidden Temples in Necro Valley. The Vanity's Emptiness of the deck, which if you control Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper's monster, then neither player can special summon monsters except Gravekeepers. So if your opponent's playing Goki or Thunder Dragon or like Sky Striker, they cannot special summon anything. And with that new fusion, it's actually really good with this card. You can search it out. So it's a good lock, and I'll get into that later. After that, I've got Necro Valley Throne. I've only got 2 right now, but I plan on bumping this up to 3 because it functions as a reinforcement of the army. You can search out any Gravekeeper, or it functions as a double summon where you can normal summon in addition to your regular normal. So I need 1 more. That's my goal, but right now I'm just using 2. Then playing 1 Gravekeeper Steel, just because if I need any cards from the Gravekeeper monsters, I can bring them back to my hand. Again, this one bypasses Necro Valley, so really like that. Then I'm playing the 1 Royal Tribute, which gets rid of the hand traps more than anything. Or if your opponent has some monsters that they want to summon, sends them to the graveyard, and if they're like Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, they did not meet their requirements, so they cannot be properly revived. After all these Gravekeeper cards, we have some draw power. You've got your 1 Upstart Goblin. Just give them that extra 1,000 to draw. Then we've got Spellbook of Knowledge. Really good. I use this with Recruiter a lot, so it's a draw 2 plus whatever the search for Recruiter is. And then I've got 3 Carded Demise, just because there's quite a bit of spells in the deck, and I'm able to make use of it without having to lose a lot of resources. The sad part is you can't special summon, which means if I drew into like Supernaturalist and another Gravekeeper, then I couldn't go into the fusion. After all these spells, we've got our traps, and let's start off with Imperial Tombs of Necro Valley, which is the deck's version of Infernity Barrier or Solemn Judgment. You just need control, Gravekeeper and Necro Valley are on the field, which the deck's Gravekeepers. Really easy to fulfill those requirements. Sad thing is it's only once per turn. Then, after that we've got one of our new support cards. We've got Necro Valley Throne. The spell card Necro Valley, your monsters gain 500. This card forces all the opponent's monsters to lose 500. So you got like 1,000 gap difference if the opponent's monster and your monster were both 1,500. Your guys gain 500, they lose 500, so be 1,000 big difference. On top of that, during the main phase, either player's turn, you can activate a Necro Valley from the hand or graveyard if you have no card in your field zone. Really good if you set this up during your turn and you don't have like Commandant or Necro Valley to draw into, or to search Necro Valley. And then if this gets destroyed, you can get a Necro Valley spell or trap from the deck and set it, so it helps with that. And then for the last few traps, we've got Rite of Spirit, just the deck's version of Call the Haunted or Monster Reborn, since it's not continuous. Bypasses Necro Valley as well. Works really well with the deck along with those headmans, just because if you use this on a headman, special summon that, and then because headman was summoned, it special summons another Gravekeepers. That's the main deck. After that, we've got the extra deck, which for the new support, we're only playing the triple Supernaturalist. Looks like Heretic ended up getting like a bump right here. He ended up maturing a bit. But for the effect, it gains 100 attack per level of Gravekeepers you use. Usually you're going to use Spiritualist. Well, you're going to use Spiritualist anyways to fuse. But you use it with any other Gravekeeper and it ends up being like Spy or something. So it gains an extra 800. And then you have Necro Valley itself. So you have a 3,300 beat stick usually most of the time. And then on top of that, it's if Necro Valley is on the field, this card and Necro Valley cannot be destroyed by card effects. Really good if you do it first turn and your opponent ends up top decking Raigeki or Dark Hole. And then in this deck, if I played like Torrential Tribute or one of my side deck cards actually destroys special summon monsters, it protects himself because Necro Valley is on the field. Then his main effect is during your main phase you can activate his effect. During the end phase, you can search out any Gravekeeper or Necro Valley spell or trap. Really good. That's the perfect way to search out the hidden temples. Set it up for next turn, even though it's stuck in your hand. So, kind of a bummer. Then let's see. After that, I've got some exceeds here. We got Gaga Cowboy just to make sure if we go into time, because this is a bit of a stall deck, we can do some damage and make sure we get that win. Then we got Exiton Knight just because the deck's a bunch of level 4s and we can make it easily. If we have this on the board with, let's see, if you have like Wee Witch's Apprentice, this, and then Supernaturalist with Necro Valley, the only cards you'll lose are him and are this guy and Witch's Apprentice, because the other two are protected. After that, we got the Utopia package, regular, an upgraded one, and then a final one for Lightning, just to make sure we get that double effect of making sure the opponent loses to this guy at 5,000 attack. Then we've got our Link monsters. We've got 2 Wee Witch's Apprentice. Takes 2 dark monsters. The whole deck is dark, not a problem. Or actually, some of them are earth. But even still, it's not that hard to make it. Then that's an extra 500 for all your Gravekeepers. So if Supernaturalist is at 33 thanks to its effect by gaining attack, this is an extra 500, so you have a 3,800 beat stick. After that, we got Nightmare Phoenix and Cerberus, and then Underclock Taker, just because Link 2s, a couple of them get rid of problems. If you have Underclock Taker connecting to a Supernaturalist, you pretty much wipe out your opponent's monster's attack for a full set of damage. And then Nightmare Griffin. This one I just pulled from the Flood booster box. I will be uploading that soon. And this was like the secret rare that we pulled that I really enjoyed. And then to end it off, it is a Firewall Dragon. These two were just to fill in the slots, just to have them. I think Nightmare Griffin's in there more than anything to make sure the opponent's special summon monsters cannot activate their effects. And then after the extra deck right here, we've got the side deck, which still tweaking because of the first card I'm about to show you. We've got Gravekeeper's Watcher. This card is not once per turn, and on top of that, it stops any hand trap. So during either player's turn, if your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect that could make them discard a card, you can send this card from your hand to the grave, negate it, and if you do, destroy it. This stops Ash Blossom, this stops Ogre, this stops Winter Cherries, anything that just needs to go to the graveyard from the hand. This is my favorite counter to the hand traps, and I've actually had a few people get really angry at me for playing this because they didn't realize what it did. And then on top of it being not a hard once per turn, that made them get really angry. So this one, probably my favorite guy. I'm trying to think of what to take out to throw this into the deck. After that, I'm running Fossil Dyna just to add some more salt, just to make sure the opponent can't special summon. If I get a Visionary on board with this, then I know I'll be fine. Then let's see, another Gravekeeper Steel just in case I need it, and the rest of it is a lot of continuous traps just to make sure the opponent can't do anything to my side. We've got Mask of Restrict for Lair of Darkness decks and Kaijus, and then we've got one Goes in Match. I would get 2 more if I could find someone that's trading them. Then I've got 3 Rivalry of the Warlords. Rivalry is really good because they only control one type of monster. All my guys are Spellcaster unless I'm doing like a bunch of the links. The Goes in Match isn't a problem either, even though it's attribute. Usually I only have the dark monsters on the field. And then to finish it off, Imperial Iron Wall. If the opponent ends up getting rid of my Necro Valley, or if they're playing like Cosmic Cyclone, then this way I can make sure that they can't get rid of my stuff. So Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one.